What's good, everyone? Right now I'm out here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I'm at the site of this abandoned Kmart back here. Now, this Kmart opened in the 90s to replace another store that they basically moved to and then closed in 2014. This actually became a Carolina Pottery, some other type of store, after Kmart closed, less than a year after the Kmart closed. And then that store closed. I'm not entirely sure when, but that was the last place that was in this building, and then now this building's completely vacant. So I wanted to come out here and check this place out because it used to be a Kmart, and obviously, I mean, I can't pass that up, the chance to check one of those out. Now, I did say I'm out here in Myrtle Beach as well, and I'll show you this too. You can see the Ferris wheel over there. So there's a hotel here and Olive Garden here, but yeah, this area of Myrtle Beach, I don't know Myrtle Beach like that, but I mean, clearly this is a large area for business. So why this Kmart closed in 2014 like it did, I'm not entirely sure, but that's when it did close. This store is about 83,000 square feet. It was an expansion store. You can see by the abnormal looking garden shop. We'll go down there and check that out. But yeah, man, old Kmart and Carolina Pottery, whatever that was. All right. Take a look in there, and it is gutted. In fact, this looks just like the Conway one did. And the fact that there's just a ton of puddles. Here you can see a little bit better in there. Dang, man. And because it's got this awning all down it, it's easier to see inside of this one, and unlike Conway. But dang, man, this is in the same shape as that one was. And just to give you an idea, look at how bad the paint's peeling in there too. Water damage is in here pretty bad. All the ceiling tiles are gone. See where the tiles on the ground were. Take a look to the entranceway. Clearly evident of an old Kmart with these pads. A lot of them had this. Like I said, this one opened in the 90s. It was built as a Kmart to my knowledge. Or maybe it wasn't. I'm not entirely sure, but it did open in the 90s as one of these. And then it closed, like I said, in 2014 and opened as that Carolina Pottery place until that closed. And now this just sits here abandoned and in some bad shape, just like literally. I don't know which video I'm going to get out first, but if I do end up getting the Conway Kmart video out before this one, it looked very like, I mean, the similarities between them is crazy as to how bad that they look on the inside. They look really similar. So, all right, look through this side too, just so you can see how all the floor is missing. At least I will say though, with this one, the floor doesn't look as bad as that one. That one had weeds growing inside of the entranceway. You can see there's no ceiling tiles in it. Very rusty at the top too. You can see that a little bit. Very rusty. So we'll go down here, check out the garden shop side. It's all chained up. I guess that door is open, but it actually is open, but it's all chained up, so clearly we're not getting in there. This would have been the exit here. I already showed this, but I just wanted to show it one more time. See if we can try and get a better look inside of here. We'll go down to the garden shop side and see how that is. Very unique looking store as well. And like I said, not typical of a Kmart. As I've noticed, a lot of the Kmarts that were built in plazas as anchors, they didn't have their own standalone building, looked a little different than the typical 70s and 80s era stores that a lot of them were built as. This was a big Kmart when it was open as well. This is the old garden shop. Looks like they got some shelves up there to the right side. But at least this garden shop looks a lot better than Conway did. And there's the doors that would lead from the main sales floor. I really wish we could have seen more inside of it than just at the front. But unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going to be the case because those doors are all the way down there. And then these here are like barn-style doors, as you'll see. I'm guessing that this wasn't used much when the other business was here after Kmart was. You can see how open that looks. Dang it, man. I'm trying to be a law-abiding citizen. So, yeah. So, this would have been their outdoor garden shop. Kind of weird that they wouldn't even put an access. I guess you would have had to walk inside to be able to come outside. Because there clearly would have been fences here. As you can see by the little blotches of concrete that they just filled in. There would have been ones here. And then there would have been some all the way down. So this would have been fencing, you know, how Kmart garden shops, or should I say the Eddie Lampert prison yards were designed. But I will say, they did an excellent job of stripping everything Kmart related out of these buildings. Because I see nothing that would tell you that this used to be a Kmart, other than the fact that I know that it used to be one. Otherwise, there's nothing that would scream at you what this place used to be. I'm guessing the registers used to be right here. And it feels good to walk inside of an old garden shop. I've seen these barn-style doors at other ones before, too. But I'm guessing, like I said, when this Kmart was open, I don't know if these were here. That one's kind of like just bolted on. The thing's rusted off to keep it on the like track it's supposed to be on. Man. Shame. Like I said, Conway closed in 2017. That's the other Kmart that I filmed earlier. That one closed in 2017. This one closed in 2014. And I gotta say, man, I don't know which one looks worse. You would think that it would be this one because it closed. They both opened, I want to say, around the 90s. They were both big Kmarts. This one closed earlier than that one, about 3 years earlier. But man, Conway was terrible. That one, that store's in some really bad shape. And like I said, depending on when I get these videos out, you'll see exactly what I mean. As sad as it is to say, I honestly think this one looks like it's in better shape than that was. The inside, both of them look tore up. But at least on the outside, even though this doesn't look that, like with the paint peeling, it doesn't look like it's in that great a shape. Conway was rough. Maybe I spoke too soon. This was what I'm talking about. These rust so bad. Is there anything you can see in there? Here, let me stick this and see if there's anything you can see. I can't really tell. Yeah, I can't. I can feel air coming in, or coming like out of here, but I can't really see anything in there. Alright, sorry about that. I tried to bend down to see if I could see anything underneath the doors, but to no avail. I just want to see if there's anything to see in there. I want to give you guys the best shot in there, but I'm telling you, The other store was exactly like that with those doors. They were terribly rusted out. And also another giveaway sign that this was a Kmart is a lot of times what they had these satellite dishes hanging from that type of pillar with the two like studs hanging off of it. They had this big satellite dish for the in-store radio on those too. And I'm guessing that there would have been some sign on these studs here. There's no Kmart label scar. I will say that. I have not seen, like I said, I don't know if it's just because time has taken a toll on it, but also just because of how, I guess, gutted that this is. I see nothing that would otherwise tell a regular person anyway that this was a Kmart. I know a lot of the signs. Like I said, I pointed a lot of them out, but to a regular person that doesn't know anything about what these buildings were, you probably would just think that it used to be a store and that's it. But I'm not surprised to see this going. I mean, it either would have closed, if it didn't close in 2014, it would have closed at some other time down the line with all the stores that did, or it would have gotten just beat out by poor results, poor sales, because there's 2 Walmarts that I passed getting here, and they're super centers, so not surprising. These would have been your loading docks, so I'm guessing these would have had a little bit of a different design, because the other ones that I've seen, they've had ramps that go down to have the truck be even with the floor, but I'm guessing that with these being like straight on like this, they would have had like either a ramp or something in there to lift you up to be able to take the stuff off. Maybe ramps on the inside of the store. And again, you can see those are rusted out, but I'm telling you now, I can't see, there's nothing you can see out of these. Yep, nothing. So, but I'm telling you, Conway was just like that too. And again, man, even though this was closed as a Kmart in 2014, I don't know when the other store closed that operated out of here. Compactor, look at that. I mean, even I don't know what that's even called, but like the little thing that you would have put the compactor on, even that's rusted and gone. Got a random door. I don't think this has anything to do with anything. Almost looks like it would have been a back room door, but yeah, I don't know what that would have been for. But that's that, man. Abandoned Myrtle Beach Kmart. The available sign is right there, by the way. So if anyone wanted to purchase this or lease it out, even though, you know, I'm not surprised that it still is for lease. But man, it really is a shame at what's happened to this company, man. You know, you got to understand that even when Kmart first filed for bankruptcy as an independent company, they still had, like, I want to say if they didn't have 2,000, they had close to it stores in operation. When they filed for bankruptcy, they closed about 300 of them. And so I believe they had about still 1,900 stores, big box stores, all across the U.S. And then you fast forward almost 20 years later, and they've closed literally all except for one of them. At the time of this video, the only Kmart that's still technically in operation is the store that's in Miami, Florida, in the Kendall Lakes Outdoor Shopping Center. Sorry about the wind. Other than that, they're all gone. And it really is a shame, because I find it so hard to believe how, and it honestly is fascinating too, how systematic it has to be for you to just pinpoint and close like literally thousands of stores over 20 years to only have one little baby. And literally, I call it a baby because it's basically in the old garden shop of that store. The main part of it was taken over by At Home. So think of that store literally about the size of this portion, this and that. That's about as big as it is, which is sad, but it's what they've done. I've studied a lot about Kmart's downfall. I've gotten really specific in what I've tried to find out, and the truth is, man, as much as we say it's Eddie Lampert's fault, it's not as much his fault as it is as people like to say that, or like think that it is, man. Like, Eddie Lampert, honestly, as much as we don't want to consider that he saved the company, because he really didn't save it, he just prolonged a slow death, is what I'd like to call it. Prolonged a slow death. Because they could have been gone way back in 2003, honestly. All of them could have shut down then, which would have been the largest bankruptcy ever. It would have been the largest one if they all shut down, but they didn't, fortunately. And a large amount of them remained open. Here, we'll take a look in the garden shop. again, a large amount of them remained open, and then they slowly got eliminated. Like I said, I think a good way to describe Kmart would have been death by 1,000 cuts, because either literally thousands of stores closed, and that's what I'm referring to by cuts, is that they just, all of them slowly closing, chunks at a time. And then that's pretty cool. Backroom location. I don't know if this is for Kmart or the other store. Probably was for the other one because it's blue. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. But again, like I said, when they filed for bankruptcy again under Sears Holdings in 2018, again, there were people fighting to get the entire company liquidated. Then they were fighting to get all of it gone, to just try and get as much out of it as he could. But Eddie Lampert, man, he somehow managed to keep the company, and not to keep it alive, but literally just to, it's argued, so I don't know this to be the truth, but it's argued that, you know, those moves were just made to keep more of an opportunity to lease the rest of the locations that he wanted to out. And so that's why a lot of these, whether they're abandoned like this or ones that have been subdivided, you know, and chopped up in other stores, if Seritage Growth Properties owns them, Eddie Lampert's getting paid for that. So, you know, I've said this before, man. Honestly, it's not a very good or moral to do to people. But if you're trying to make money, and you know real estate like he apparently does, it's a systematic way to get cash. It sucks. It's a terrible thing to do to people. The many people that worked for this company, that stood for it, you know, that made it special in its glory days. It's a sucky thing to do, but at the same time, man, it's subjective to what you think about it, but he rakes cash in from the places that he leased out. You know, it's just a shame that an iconic retailer has to pay the price. Two of them, you know, Sears included, have to pay the price for that, but oh well. So I can't quite see what's to the left. Looks like that would have been a back room to the left. Interesting, they had their back room on the left. That little door over there. You can see right there. Guess that would have been a back room. And then you can just see, like I said, or maybe I don't know. I don't know how this one was. So maybe they had multiple spots for back room entrances, but yeah, man, that's basically it. This is the best view you can see in there because, like I said, you're gonna get a lot of glare through here. Well, actually, we'll try this one. You can see through here. Guessing shopping carts would have went there. Well, yeah, it's gutted in there. It's gutted pretty bad. I'm sure the conditions in here aren't, like I said, they're just about as bad as Conway was, and ultimately this is going to need some extensive TLC to bring it back to operating standards, if even that. If maybe it might need to be demolished entirely, but that's this, man. Another Kmart biting the dust. The sign for this one actually would have started right here, and it would have went all the way over to about the end of here. The Carolina Pottery sign was nice and compact right up there. So if you look closely, you can see those bolts right there, those studs, those would have been for Kmart. But that's that, man. It's gonna wrap it up for me. So I thank you all for watching this video of this abandoned Kmart out here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you ever shopped at this one or anything like that, please let me know as well, or my little spiel about the company at the end. Like I said, I'm a Kmart supporter, but I'm also a retail supporter. You know, I've done a lot of research on company demises, not just them. They're just the biggest one I've looked at. And so doing this fills a niche for me that I've just found to be so enjoyable. But like I said, their downfall has been one of the most significant to see, because they're still hanging on by a tiny little thread. You know, when you've seen other companies just say to heck with it all, like Joann Fabrics is going out of business, Big Lots is going out of business, and then they have some stores coming back. Party City's all gone. Like, you've seen it, you know. And as someone that wants to work in retail and be an entrepreneur, it's not very it's not very promising to see that happen when online is just being so dominant. But maybe history is doomed to repeat itself, and you'll see the rise of physical shopping once again sometime. One can hope, right? Anyway, thank you all for watching. It's gonna be a wrap from this old Kmart and Carolina Pottery, but it's a Kmart. Until next time, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being a part of the Z-Man family. And until next time, take care out there. Peace.